It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
We've got some follow-up questions about 401ks. We've got Anthony. He says, I've hit $1 million in my 401k.
Nice.
Congrats. Should I convert my allocation to all conservative? I don't want to lose this money with a volatile environment we have.
You know, Brian, I think it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people do this. They start saving, and maybe their magic number's $1 million, maybe it's $2 million, maybe they hit an age. I hit age 65, and they start thinking to themselves, okay, I did it, I had this goal, I hit this goal, and now it's time for me to flip. I was building. Now I just need to flip the switch, and I need to bury this money in a coffee can under my mattress. Why might that not be the best idea in the world?
Well, I think it's also exasperated by what's going on in the economy now. I mean, markets are volatile. People are questioning, are we in a recession right now? So it's very easy to question, hey, is this even sound logic for me? Let me give you some things you ought to understand. We've heard about safe withdrawal rates, the Trinity study, that 4% rule that everybody talks about. I think a key thing that people gloss over when you're looking at some of these basic benchmarks that you can use for retirement planning, it requires, that research showed that you should have over 50% of your assets in like equity type strategies. And I think this is a big thing, and Bo kind of alluded to it. A lot of people think that there's a switch that gets flipped when you cross from having financial independence versus, saving to build wealth. And the reality is it's much more of just like you have a glide path within your index target retirement funds, you'll find that most people have a glide path with their asset allocation, even as they go into retirement. That if you cross into retirement at 60 years of age, you're still going to have over 50% of your assets likely in growth type, risk on assets. But that's going to be different as you get to 80. You're going to find that now maybe you only have 20%. It depends upon your goals, your desires, what your legacy is with the money you've built. But it's not one of those things where we're 90-10 or 80-20 or even 70-30, meaning equity versus safe assets. And then you cross into, you hit your number, 1 million, 2 million, whatever the number is, you go, whoop. Cross the threshold, let's flip the switch and let's go 100% money markets or annuities or something super safe. No. This is why I know we'll always have a job is because it's very nuanced to create a strategy, a plan that kind of, accomplishes the goal of helping you grow, but also helping you keep that wealth as much as you can with volatility and all kind of craziness going on in the world.
One of the things I would encourage you to think about is if this present volatility, if this current recession that we're in is causing you angst, is making you feel a little uncomfortable, and you're still in your accumulation phase, building towards retirement, bottle that up. Right now, you are actually learning what your true risk tolerance is. It's easy for all of us to say how risky we are when the markets are making great money and everything's looking good and everything's moving positive. It's when the markets start going down that we really get to test our resolve. Okay, how do I feel going through this downturn? As you can imagine, when you do make that switch and you go from actually working, earning wages, to then you flip to financial independence, living off of your dollars, there's a psychological shift that's going to happen. And if this recession is making you feel uncomfortable, boy, does it get a lot more uncomfortable when you're actually in financial independence if you don't have a sound plan and a correct asset allocation. So I would begin thinking through, all right, is my portfolio structured the best way for me over the long term, or as I continue to move towards financial independence, should I begin making some adjustments? Because right now, if you are an accumulator, in this moment, this is the point of maximum financial opportunity. If you really buy into the idea that we should buy low and sell high, we all have a great opportunity to buy lower right now than we were able to at the beginning of the year. And so you ought to be able to flip that financial mutant mindset, not think, how do I run for the hills, but rather think, okay, how can I capitalize on the opportunities that are available to me right now?
And I want to just kind of close it with some big brother advice, because we focused on, because I think it's what's going on right now, the recession, the desire to either grow versus feel safe. I would ask, because Anthony didn't give us his age, but I want to give you some perspective here. Anthony, you've done a great job. You've obviously already built 7 figures. What if Anthony is 36 years of age? I mean, and at this point, I would say, hey, figure out your why. I mean, because this is one of those things you've heard me in my journey to building wealth. I had a conversation with my wife that we were going to be very good and practice deferred gratification while we were young and really bedazzle our basic life with still traveling and enjoying each decade. But we were going to squeeze to build wealth. But there does come a point, and Anthony, you might be at that, where you have to look at what you've built, look at your behaviors, but ask the why. And this is where you get into the planning questions of what am I building this money for? What is it supposed to do? And then you can say, am I enjoying and getting my best life with all these elements kind of combined together? Because maybe you don't have to save as much, or maybe you need to because you have a desire to retire at 52, that you're going to need to continue to hit the accelerator. I'm just telling you, as a big brother advice here, focus on the why, know what you're going to, so that it can give a little more shape, a little more direction to what you're building.